The last time your yard went quiet, your birds may not have been listening for seed. They may have been listening for you. Not your footsteps, not the back door, not even the familiar shape of you moving past the window. Before all of that, there is one signal many backyard birds learn faster than most people realize: the sound of the human who belongs to the yard. Your voice. The small greeting you say when you step outside. The way you call to them without thinking. The soft words you use when you refill the feeder, rinse the bird bath, or walk slowly past the shrubs where they hide. To you, it may feel like nothing, a habit, a little kindness spoken into the air. But to the birds watching from the fence, the maple branch, the gutter, and the shadow under the hedge, that voice becomes part of the yard's pattern. And when that voice disappears, something changes. Not all at once. Not dramatically. The feeder may still be full. The water may still be clean. The trees may still be safe. But the yard no longer sounds complete. A familiar signal is missing, and the birds who knew it begin to behave differently in ways most people never notice. Today, we are going to walk through exactly what happens when the birds in your yard stop hearing your voice. You will learn what they do during the first quiet morning, why some birds approach more carefully even when nothing looks wrong, how certain species connect human voices with safety, what changes after several days of silence, and why one bird may still turn its head toward your window long after you have stopped speaking outside. Stay until the end, because the final thing we cover explains why a bird may remember not just where you stood, but the sound you made when you were kind to it. And once you understand that, you may never step into your yard silently again. Point 1. The first morning your voice is missing. Birds do not need human language to understand routine. They do not know your words the way another person does, but they learn tone, rhythm, repetition, and timing. If every morning begins with the same back door opening, the same quiet greeting, and the same gentle movement toward the feeder, that sound becomes a marker. It tells them the yard is entering its safe hour. It tells them that the large creature near the house is not hunting, not rushing, not threatening anything. It tells them that the feeder will be opened, the water will be changed, and the same calm pattern is about to repeat. But on the first morning your voice is missing, the birds do not immediately panic. They pause. A chickadee may land on the branch she always uses before approaching the feeder, but instead of flying straight down, she waits longer. A cardinal may appear near the fence, tilt his head toward the kitchen window, and listen. Sparrows may gather in the shrub line, close enough to watch the yard, but not close enough to commit. Nothing has attacked them. Nothing has changed in the shape of the yard. But one familiar layer of safety has gone silent, and that silence becomes information. This is the part people often misunderstand. Birds are not waiting for a conversation. They are listening for confirmation. Your voice, repeated gently over days and weeks, becomes a cue that the morning routine is normal. When that cue disappears, the birds do not forget the feeder. They simply treat the yard as less certain. So they test it. One bird approaches first, usually the boldest or most experienced individual. She lands, grabs one seed, and leaves quickly. Another bird watches her reaction before moving in. A third waits until the first two return safely. What looks like random feeding is actually a quiet chain of risk assessment. And if your voice stays missing through the rest of the morning, the pattern becomes even more obvious. The birds still visit, but their visits become shorter. They perch farther from the house. They spend more time scanning and less time feeding. They may use the outer branches instead of the familiar inner ones. The whole yard seems slightly more cautious, even though to human eyes nothing has changed. Point 2. By the second and third day, they stop expecting the sound. This is when the absence becomes more than a missing moment. One quiet morning can be treated as an interruption. 2 or 3 quiet mornings begin to look like a new rule. The birds who knew your routine start adjusting their approach. They no longer fly in at the exact time your voice used to appear. They arrive later, circle wider, and let other birds test the open space first. They are not abandoning you. They are updating the meaning of the yard. A feeder with food is useful. A feeder with food and a familiar, safe voice is something stronger. It is a trusted place inside a living territory. And when the voice disappears, the food may still matter, but the trust around it weakens. This is why some birds seem more nervous after you have been away or unusually quiet for a few days. They are not angry. They are not offended. They are recalculating. A robin may continue hunting near the lawn, but avoid the patio edge. A wren may still move through the flower pots, but stop singing from the railing. A chickadee may visit the feeder, but refuse to stay long enough to crack the seed nearby. She takes it and leaves, as if the safest part of the routine has been removed. Here is the quiet twist. To the birds who knew your voice, silence is not neutral. Silence is a missing signal. In the wild, sound tells birds whether a place is stable. Other birds calling normally can mean safety. Sudden silence can mean danger. A familiar human voice, repeated gently and predictably, can become part of that safety map. Not because the bird understands every word, but because the sound has never led to harm. Point 3. They remember the voice attached to the person. This is where the story becomes more personal. Many birds are better at individual recognition than people give them credit for. Crows, ravens, magpies, chickadees, mockingbirds, and even some regular feeder birds can learn the difference between one human and another. They notice faces, body movement, walking style, timing, and sound. Your voice becomes one piece of that identity. Not the whole picture, but a powerful piece. The bird does not think, "That is Sarah," or "That is the man from the blue house." But she may recognize the pattern, the calm tone, the slow steps, the hand that fills the feeder, the voice that never chases her away. And when another person steps into the yard, even carrying the same seed, the birds may not respond the same way. They may wait longer. They may watch from higher branches. They may let the stranger leave before approaching, because the food is familiar, but the voice is not. That is the difference most people miss. That is the difference most people miss. The birds are not only responding to what is in your hand, they are responding to the history attached to you. Point 4. When your voice returns. After several quiet days, the first time you speak in the yard again can create a small but visible shift. It may not look dramatic. No bird flies into your arms. No cardinal sings your name from the fence. But watch closely. A chickadee may appear sooner than she did yesterday. A wren may pause on the railing instead of disappearing into the hedge. A crow may turn his head before you even finish the sentence. The birds who knew the sound do not need a full explanation. They only need the pattern to return. Your voice does not magically erase caution. It reopens a familiar file. The yard hears the signal again. The calm human is back. And for some birds, especially the ones that have watched you for weeks, months, or years, that signal matters more than the feeder itself. Food can be found in many places. Water can collect after rain. Branches, insects, seeds, and shelter exist beyond your fence. But a safe human voice is rare. So the next time you step outside, try not to think of your voice as empty sound. Think of it as one of the quiet things your yard has learned to recognize. The soft, "Good morning." The gentle, "There you are." The little sentence you say without knowing anyone is listening. Someone may be. Not in the human way. Not with words, but with memory, caution, and recognition. And if you have ever noticed a bird reacting to your voice before you even reach the feeder, tell me in the comments what happened and what kind of bird it was. I want to hear those stories. I read everyone. I'll see you in the next one.